Too. Now, leaders in eastern Libya have declared semi-autonomy for an area stretching between Sirte and the Egyptian border. The country's National Transitional Councils warned against creating a self-governing region because it could lead to the breakup of the nation. Reaction now then from the editor of Pan-African Newswire, Abayomi Azikiwe, is joining us on the line from Detroit in the States. Hi there. Without a proper government or anyone indeed to stop other regions following suit, what chances, sir, do you think Libya has now of staying intact?
It's going to be very difficult, and it's not surprising that we see this type of regionalism taking place inside the country. Prior to the independence of the country in the early 1950s, it was governed largely as three independent enclaves. During the period of the Ottoman Empire, which collapsed during World War I, there was three different regions of the country. When the Italians came in and took over, they more or less forged some semblance of unity inside the country. They were in power between around 1911 all the way up until 1951. After the revolution in 1969, the Jamahiriya under Colonel Muammar Gaddafi attempted to forge national unity inside the country. During the war last year, that was largely led by opposition forces that were supported by the United States, Britain, Italy, France, and the other NATO countries. There was no real political program that would unite all the various opposition organizations. The only program they really had was removing Gaddafi from power. So there's nothing really to forge any type of national unity inside of Libya right now.
So what's your prognosis, especially under the National Transitional Council, which has been accused of not being up to the job of governing properly?
It doesn't look like they're going to be able to form any type of viable provisional government inside of Libya. They have elections scheduled to take place later on this year. But when we have this type of regionalism that's going on inside the country, it's going to be very difficult for them to do so. These various rebel bands that are roaming the country have still not been brought under the control of the NTC in Tripoli. They've attempted to disarm the militia groups. This has not been successful. Then, of course, we have the whole problem of the militias that are operating around Benghazi. Of course, there are other militias that are operating in Tripoli. Then, of course, in the south and the southwest, there are other groups that tend to be more allied with the former regime of Muammar Gaddafi. So it really doesn't look like they're going to be able to form a government of national unity. And this, of course, will only benefit the Western powers, which are only there to exploit the oil and natural gas resources inside
That's
that
just
country.
Exactly it, isn't it? The interesting side of this area where they're declaring this semi-autonomy stretching between Sirte and the Egyptian border, that's rich in resources, isn't it? And I guess the question is, who's going to want those resources, and will the world stand by and watch them be exploited at any point in the future?
Well, there's a lot of discontent that's going on right now inside of Libya. There's an attempt to reform pro-Gaddafi forces. There are at least two different coalitions that are attempting to do that. Then, of course, we have the other organizations that are there that are very pro-Western and want to, in fact, move closer to the United States and to the NATO countries. Then, of course, we have the Islamist forces that are there who want to move more towards an Islamic form of government and an Islamic legal system. So right now, there's really not a lot going on in terms of a real program to build some type of unified system inside of Libya itself, which is a tragedy because Libya has the largest known oil reserves on the African continent. During the beginning of the war last year, they had some $160 billion in foreign reserves. They owed virtually no money to the IMF and the World Bank. The country was awash with wealth as well as natural resources. So the war actually has done more to destabilize Libya and actually create more uncertainty throughout the entire region of North Africa.
Abayomi, just briefly, because we're kind of running out of time a bit, but it's 12 months on now since the civil war in Libya started, so therefore a good time to look back, I guess. And while it's largely peaceful now, it's far from stable. Atrocities against Gaddafi supporters and armed rebels still happen. Whose fault do you think is it for Libya ending up like this?
Well, of course, the West intervened in a sectional conflict that was taking place inside the country. They had, in fact, armed opposition groups for decades, just waiting for the opportunity to come in and engineer this type of regime change that took place. So I would definitely place the culpability for this type of chaos that's going on inside the country with the U.S. and with the NATO forces, because they were only concerned about the toppling of the Gaddafi regime in order to get in and further exploit the oil and natural gas resources inside of North Africa.
All right, thanks for being on the programme. Abayomi Azikiwe, the editor of Pan-African Newswire, joining us from Detroit. Thank you.